Did you know 4 million tourists fly here every year? And almost none of them realize the island beneath their feet is still growing, and that the paradise they came to photograph is, geologically speaking, a wound that hasn't closed. Picture a canyon carved from red and ochre stone, draped in impossible tropical green. The color contrast makes no logical sense. You expect desert. You find ferns growing from the cliffs. Clouds drift through the lower sections like slow white rivers. In the early morning, before the tour buses arrive, you can stand at the rim and hear almost nothing. Just wind. Just the faint sound of a waterfall somewhere far below that you cannot see. The canyon is over 10 miles long. It goes down 3,000 feet. And yet somehow it feels intimate, like it was carved just to make you feel small in the most generous possible way. Now, move north. You are on the oldest island in the chain, a place so saturated with rainfall and centuries that the cliffs have folded into dramatic pleats of dark green. Valleys are so narrow and steep that sunlight only reaches the bottom for a few hours each day. The coastline here does not invite you. It simply exists, completely indifferent to whether you witness it or not. Sea cliffs rise over 1,000 meters straight from the Pacific. There are beaches at the bottom that have no roads leading to them. People have lived in these valleys. They planted taro, built walls from stone, read the stars. Then one day they were gone, and the jungle moved back in over everything they had made. There is an island in this chain that almost nobody visits. It sat apart from the development that touched the others. For a time, a significant piece of its land was used to isolate people suffering from a disease that frightened the rest of the world. They were sent there by boat and left. Some of them never left again. The peninsula where this happened is now a national historical park, accessible only by a steep trail or a small plane. The residents who remain there chose to stay. That fact alone says something about the place that no photograph could capture. Think about what it means to stand at the summit of a dormant volcano at nearly 14,000 feet and watch the sun go below the clouds while the sky above you turns colors that have no names in English. The ground is rust-colored and barren. It looks like the surface of another world entirely. Below the cloud layer, the rest of the island continues its ordinary tropical life, warm and wet and green. Up here, it is cold and silent and ancient. Astronomers built observatories at this summit because the atmosphere above it is so clear that they can observe the universe with unusual precision. On a clear night, the stars do not twinkle. They just burn, perfectly still. Somewhere on the eastern side of the largest island, there is a city that receives more rainfall than almost anywhere in the entire United States. The locals do not mind. They have built their lives around it. Gardens of extraordinary density and color. Waterfalls that pour off nearly every hillside. A farmer's market that smells like fruit you have never tasted before. The city has a quietness to it that the more visited western side does not. Fewer chain restaurants, more cats sleeping on walls, more time. Walk into a lava tube. Not the well-lit tourist version, though those exist. Just conceptually, understand what it is. A tunnel formed when the outer shell of a lava flow hardened and cooled, while molten rock continued moving through the inside, eventually draining away and leaving behind a hollow stone corridor. Some of these tubes stretch for miles underground. Ancient people knew about them. They used them, and the island is still building new ones right now, slowly at the edge of the sea. There are petroglyphs carved into hardened lava fields that date back centuries. They show figures, geometric shapes, what appear to be maps or records or prayers. Nobody is entirely certain what all of them mean. You can walk among them in the early morning heat, the black rock absorbing the sun around you, and feel the weight of a history that existed long before the first tourist brochure was ever printed. A valley on the northern coast was once home to royalty. Wild horses still roam its lower floor. The waterfall at its far end is the tallest in the islands. The stream that feeds it was diverted for irrigation decades ago, and the falls sometimes run dry. Locals are working to restore the flow. The valley holds its breath and waits. This is the anti-itinerary. No booking confirmations, no departure gates, no number of days required. Just the understanding that one of the most geologically young, spiritually layered, visually overwhelming places on the surface of this earth is sitting in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, still growing, still erupting in places, still holding stories in its stone that have not yet been fully translated. The place we have been describing this entire time is Hawaii, not the version in the magazine, the one underneath it,